Well, we got some more overtime. Not that much more though. So, yeah. So the Western Conference Final started tonight, and it was every bit as heated, as close, and a shootout as I expected. I mean, Dallas and Vegas are pretty strong. Vegas has been showing their might all year, and Dallas is showing they can score some goals when if they need to, and they have been. And of course, Jamie Benn came through. He came through late in the third period and tied the game, and that led to overtime being forced. And I go, oh boy. Because I'm going to be a part of it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think we'd get overtime tonight. I kind of thought, well, we had the 4 overtime marathon insanity last night. I figured this would probably be like 2-goal game, probably close. It wouldn't be a blowout. I didn't think one was going to kill the other. But I thought, well, we'll probably stay within 60 minutes. But no, we needed just a bit more extra hockey. And I do mean a bit. Of course, anything would have been a bit compared to last night. But even when it went to overtime, I kind of knew it wouldn't go like any farther than it did. 95 seconds. That's all it took. Minute 35. Stevenson to Stone to Brett Howden, and he puts it in. That's it. It seems kind of. If it seems measly compared to last night, that's because it is. But it is what it is. $1.35 was all Vegas needed. And just like that, the Golden Knights take a 1-0 lead. That's exactly the number of games they won in the last series. The last time they faced Dallas in the West Final. 1. It was a 5-game series. But yeah. So Vegas is 7 wins away from a Stanley Cup. They're 3 wins away from returning to the final. It could be their second appearance in franchise history, which is only 6 years now. The main story has nothing to do with the playoffs at all. We all know what the main story in the NHL is. So Toronto fired Kyle Dubas as general manager. I was told about this on Twitter, and I read this. I read the news again, and I watched more about it. And the stance I have is the same stance I have. The stance I had then is still the same that I have now. The time to fire Dubas really was either last year or 2 years ago. You know, I don't get that. I don't get this move. They were fine. They were fine with keeping him after Toronto embarrassed themselves in that shortened season. Toronto, the Leafs had the best season they ever had in the last 20 years. They finished first in that All-Canadian division, that North division, which was fun. It was fun to watch. It really was. It was fun to see the Canadian teams just kill each other all year. And they finished first in that division. They had home ice for the first 2 rounds. They were up 3-1 in the opening round against the Montreal Canadiens. Remember, the same Canadiens who nobody figured would win a game. They blow it. We know the story. They lose Game 6. They lose Game 5 in overtime. They lose Game 6 in embarrassing fashion in overtime, and then Game 7 it just fizzled. And that was completely embarrassing. They lost. They blew a 3-1 series lead against a Canadiens team who nobody had winning a single game in the playoffs. Yet they went on to win 13 of them. And of course, last year they lose the first round again. This time it's against Tampa Bay, a Tampa Bay Lightning team that was trying to win their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. And I still say, well, first off, before I go with what I still say, I'll mention what I said before last year's playoff start. I said before last year's playoff start, I said if Toronto doesn't win a series, they need to fire Dubas right now. Because but yeah, they need to fire Dubas if they lose the series. The fact that they kept him, I thought would have given him 1 more year. And last year was supposed to be that year, and they still failed to advance. And the players did their thing, so it had to be the GM. I thought, well, he's got to go. They kept him. And they have another good season this year, and they finally get over that hump. They win a series for the first time since 2004. They fizzled out in round 2, but I'm thinking, well, they won a series. Maybe they'll keep him. No, he's gone. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. The time to fire Kyle Dubas was either last year or 2 years ago. Yet they fire him after they win a series for the first time in almost 20 years. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. I mean, 21 was an embarrassment. They blew a 3-1 series lead against a team they should have killed. And as a Maple Leafs sympathizer and slightly apologist, even I have to say that was embarrassing. And then last year they lose in the first round again, but this time it's to Tampa Bay, much stronger team. And it was easy to the point I was going to make. I still to this day say they saw that as improvement, a mulligan. You know, well, it's the back-to-back defending champs. We made it to Game 7. We made it to Game 7. We came up short. Let's give Dubas another year. And they beat the Lightning. But this is a weakened Lightning team. But they beat the Lightning nonetheless. The series win is a series win. Now, they got completely shelled by, of all teams, the Panthers. But they advanced. So I don't understand it. And I think and the whole shit behind it is crazy. I think the story was he was set to get an extension, but then he went on to talk about, I don't know if I can do this job, this, that, and the other, so they fire him, and I don't know. All I know is Leafs fans were pretty much calling for a lot of pink slips to be handed out. They say, because some fans said Dubas needs to be fired. So Dubas is gone. A lot of them want Shanahan gone, and quite a few say Sheldon Keefe's got to go. And there's a big fear now that the Wings team now is going to completely change. The number one fear is Matthews after this year, he's going to be gone. I myself am not so sure about what they're going to do with Matthews. I won't know what the Leafs will do with Matthews until sometime next year, because next year is his last year under this current deal, and then he'll be a UFA. Meaning after next year, no deal's done, he can just go off anywhere. But yeah, it's crazy. You got this, and this follows the Coyotes news that they could be out of Arizona after next year. And there's a long list of potential cities. The main three that stand out to me are Houston, Quebec City, and Atlanta. And of course, Houston's been rumored for a few years. A lot of fans theorize, well, that's why they would move to the Central. Of course, they would move to the Central to make room for the Seattle Kraken in the Pacific. But they say it's another step in moving the team to Houston. Atlanta, it's crazy. It's crazy. I did hear about sometime this season Atlanta wants another crack at an NHL franchise. Of course, they've twice failed. They had the Flames, and they only lasted 8 years before moving to Calgary. And they had the Thrashers, who lasted 12 years, played 11 seasons, only made the playoffs once and didn't win a game, and then all sorts of bad nonsense resulted in the team moving to Winnipeg, becoming the second coming of the Jets. So, will they be in Atlanta? Third time's a charm. I mean, it worked for DC in baseball. So, yeah, we'll see. And of course, Quebec City is another one because, well, we could see the Nordiques back in a new form. But speaking of cities used to have the NHL, another city's throwing their hat into this whole Coyotes mess. Hartford. I read today that I think it's the governor. I think it's the governor, somebody high ranking in Connecticut, wants the Coyotes to move to Hartford. Maybe it'll be the second Hartford Whalers 2.0. Maybe it'll be a different team name and logo. Who knows? Chances are, if they move to Hartford, it'll be the Whalers again in a different form. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? That would really be interesting. If they move to Atlanta, they could bring back the Thrashers. We get the Thrashers versus the Jets. If they and that would be really interesting because the Thrashers, the Thrashers 2.0 used to be the OG Jets. If they move to Atlanta, if they move to Quebec, that would be really interesting for me because I'm a Quebec Nordiques fan who's now obviously a Colorado Avalanche fan and has been since the team moved. But just imagine the Quebec Nordiques versus the Colorado Avalanche. My goodness, and especially if that's the final. But if they move to Hartford, we get the Hartford Whalers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be all sorts of mayhem. But anyway, it's a lot of craziness involving teams that are no way in the playoffs. But anyway, that's my recap of Game 1. And of course, Vegas is up 1-0, just like Florida is up 1-0. The East Final. Game 2 of that is tomorrow, and Florida's going to look to do what they did against Toronto, pretty much hijack home ice advantage. They've done it before. Could they do it here? We'll know tomorrow. And of course, Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. That's early Sunday. It's a matinee game, as they call it, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and Vegas is going to look to go up 2-0. Dallas is going to try to salvage a road win. So that's my recap of tonight's game 1. If you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe if you want more. I'll be back tomorrow to recap Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. So stay tuned.